Welcome to Sink or Swim, presented by Squid Group, your digital marketing partner. The state of education in New Zealand is changing, and I speak with Tristan O'Hanlon, a lecturer from Auckland University, about how he is starting a new school in Auckland. From the failures of NCEA to the need to take risks and get real experience, we talk all things education. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, cool.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So let's just jump straight into it because I feel like this is going to be some juicy stuff. And before we talk anything about changing the wool industry, the only places I seem to see you is either surfing or at Bunnings.
Yeah.
So which one do you prefer more?
Mate, our last two times we've seen each other at Bunnings and surfing. Surfing, we were both getting pounded at the island. And Bunnings, I didn't know what I was looking for. I was looking for sprinklers for a system at work, and I came out empty-handed. So I prefer surfing. Definitely out with the boys at the island over at Matakana.
Yeah.
Love that stuff, although I'm probably catching less waves over there, more sitting there and having the boys up and getting smashed. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that day, the last time when I surfed with you there, that was quite big.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I was shitting myself.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the boys were ripping, but like, I think it's worthwhile bringing up like the fact that we did have to get rescued from the beach. And just to put a bit of preface in that, I didn't get to see the face of JC, but we were, I got into the beach to bring him off the beach on the jet ski. He was on the sled, and they would have been good 3-meter waves.
Yeah. And
super heavy Matakana, like super heavy. And it was either we both got smashed on the jet ski or I went pin it. Yeah. And I definitely chose the pinning it. Yeah. And you guys got to watch JC's face shitting himself on the back going 70 kilometers an hour. It was great.
Well, I think before JC got on, I was actually on first.
Oh, yeah.
And we turned and you just said, we're going. And I was like, I'm holding on, let's go. We hit that first wave and I flew. I think I was on my surfboard. I went kind of spearheaded past you on the ski. So then I thought, no, you're all good. You go get the boys. I'll just pedal out. And luckily I found a good spot.
But once you get past that first little knuckle, I feel like, if you get past that first part of like waves, especially there, because there's like that one turbine area which is just like punishment. But anyways,
mate, I think on that day we were great to get out there with the boys. There's definitely some charges there. We were out of our depth, but there's no better place I'd rather be.
Yeah. Take
a beat down, watch some of the boys get some good waves.
Yeah. And so, tell me a bit more about what you do at Wisewell, because it's always cool hearing what like younger people are doing in business and how they're like sort of changing the industries and things like that. And with you and Wisewell, that's definitely happening. So maybe just give us a bit of an overview of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I think it's really important to note that Wisewell kind of started out of necessity. So we had to change what we're doing as a business. I'm fifth generation in the wool industry in the family. And traditionally we are just wool traders, so buying and selling wool. And the farmers are getting fleeced every time they shore their sheep, and it's costing them to shear, and still is to this day. So I thought, myself and my father were at home during COVID, and we kind of sat down and said, what can we do to realise an actual value at the farm gate in terms of a return to the farmer? And we said, we've got to add value here in New Zealand so that we can control the flow of money. So rather than it all disappearing offshore and the farmer never sees anything. So necessity was to pay the farmer more, and also to carry on kind of the family business. I suppose 1894 we started in the wool trade, and as I said, traditionally trading wool, but we had to put a new spin on it to keep changing and to keep up with the sign of the times.
And so how do you actually do that? Because you've got wool that comes in and then you're actually processing it to a higher product level?
Yes. Yep. So we control our kind of entire supply chain from farm to finished product. We're a business-to-business enterprise. The only part we don't completely control is the scouring process, which is done in Hawke's Bay by Woolworks. They've got a state-of-the-art facility, just had a rebuild after Cyclone Gabriel. So we add value in our factory in Tipoi, where we manufacture the strong wool, which we get from the farms in Gisborne at this time, to non-woven textiles to go into high-end bedding and furniture. And that's the kind of market we see. We can charge a premium for our products, and two, realise that profit back to farmer while maintaining the money in New Zealand.
Yeah. And so with those products, do you currently see any other opportunities with other things? Like, I guess from a B2C brand, which everyone knows about, is Allbirds, which sort of blew up, and you're making wool shoes. So is there other areas other than bedding and things like that you see opportunities in, or is it primarily...
Absolutely, there's massive opportunities. So we're in the non-woven area. There's massive opportunities in the wovens area, I believe. However, our business-to-business as an ingredient brand, we're already partnering with brands that are making amazing, beautiful products, but substituting what they currently use is synthetics with 100% natural wool. So that's the plan for us to kind of get the biggest scope in launching our products. And it's like the Intel of HP, or the Vibram soles on shoes. Yeah, it's that world-renowned ingredient brand that brands want to be using inside their already good products.
And so with what you're providing, is there any reason to go like with someone else? Like, is there other people doing what you're doing, or is...
Honestly, there's not a huge amount of competition. Our competitive advantage is that we have a family member at every part of the supply chain. I think probably really important to note, there's 4 of us that started the business: my mother, my father, and my cousin Harry. Harry's in charge of sales and marketing up in Auckland. Mum and dad are in Gizzy, and mum does the new product development, and dad's doing the kind of farmer side of it, relations in the industry and stuff. So,
and currently it's primarily Hawke's Bay sort of up?
So it's the Tairāwhiti region is Gizzy. That's where we're sourcing the wool from. The ideal end point for us is to have to run out of wool in the Tairāwhiti region, to have to source wool from other parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And you've just got support from central government?
The primary, central government,
and so how does that change things for you in terms of export and everything else?
Yeah, so we're already exporting to Australia and Indonesia, but our kind of focus with them a couple of weeks ago when we presented was we've kind of done what we've done with one salesperson, really lean, family business, use our own cash. Now we need a sizable cash injection to scale up and actually make a difference for the New Zealand farmers. So to have their backing, albeit at the moment it is a verbal backing, but hoping in the next week or two something kind of comes together. Fantastic to have their backing, and we'll see what comes out of it.
Yeah, and so you talked a little bit around things needed to change as a business businesses change all the time, and you have to evolve with technology, everything. AI is the buzzword at the moment, of course, but how have you found that you've had to evolve your business, and where did that come from? Because from what I understand, there was definitely pre-COVID, there was some challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the business, I stated before, necessity, it had to evolve because the trading of wool is no longer sufficient to realise value for the farmer. I think in the industry we're in right now, evolving wool's such a traditionally old product, a boring product, some might say. Like, it's a natural fibre that's been around forever. we had to change how it was used and how it was perceived to make it saleable again. So, yeah, I mean, we had no choice but to try and do something different rather than just buying and selling wool.
Yeah. And what's the price of wool? Like, how much more value are you adding to product?
Yeah, so at the moment, through our limited volume, as we are still kind of in the startup phase, building demand, we are paying all of our farmers that is in the Wise Wool program. We're paying them 50 cents per kilo more than above market value. So that is definitely the first step towards where we want to be paying them, which is up around the $8 to $10 per kilo mark.
Yeah.
I mean, farming sheep, especially with lamb prices right now so low, as in conjunction with wool prices, farming sheep's not that appeasing to people. I mean, in terms of profitability, it's a real cost leader on the farm. So we have to try and turn it around really quickly, which we are starting to do, but we need to move a lot larger volumes.
Yeah, because we've got a small farm as a family farm. And thinking about the number of sheep even across that, we lease it out to farmers that just use the land and
farm whatever they want.
Yeah, but from talking to the farmers around us, everyone says that sheep is just hard work, and they've moved to cattle, but they're not even necessarily going to milk. They're actually just going to beef. Because it's not necessarily easier, because cows also destroy everything, but it's also a whole mentality thing for farmers to think, okay, I actually can rebuild the business on sheep, right? Because I think there used to be more sheep than people in New Zealand. Do you know if that's still the case?
Still absolutely is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Used to be 80 million sheep, now we're down to population down to 25 million. So there's still a lot more sheep than humans here. Yeah.
And cool. And then so with the business, where do you see the biggest opportunity globally and nationally?
Yeah, I think in the bedding and furniture world, New Zealand's a great pilot market. It's actually really hard. It has been really hard, the sales pipeline, for us to win business here. It's just been repetition, time and time again, seeing customers, adapting our products. And now we're winning in New Zealand. We've got a lot of customers on board. It's been a great pilot market to know what to do and what not to do overseas. So initially we were like, we're just going to go straight for the US. That's the big dog. We want that. We went over there, and the reception for our products was amazing. Everyone loved them. But we realised you needed a lot of cash to go over there and actually do it properly, to set up a company, an office in the States. In those days, we thought, which is a year ago, we thought Australians aren't going to want our wool. Like, why would they want New Zealand's wool when they grow more wool than us in Australia? Went over there on an initial call. Harry went and met 5 or 6 companies. Came back and all of them were the yeses. So Australia is a huge growing market for us in the next 2 to 3 years. Australia, Indonesia, and then when we're really set up well, have a bit of cash in the bank to kind of grow into different markets, we'll go to the US. That is still the Goliath we want to tackle. But in stages, New Zealand's been great. Australia is a much larger economy than ours. And they want our products, so that's where we're going next.
It's Aussie's an interesting one, even for us as a business. The average business there that you talk to is double the size almost as a Kiwi business. So, and it's easy. Kiwis and Aussies are pretty much the same-ish.
100%.
So that makes sense. And so you primarily East Coast, or are you finding that it's just the whole of Aussies?
No, it is East Coast. I mean, we're talking to companies over there that have got. It's really good because the whole stepping stone market is New Zealand. A company, for example, Chair Solutions. They've got one factory here in New Zealand, which is in Wellington, and then they've got 5 in Australia. So it's kind of, if we're getting our products into the New Zealand, and we've got the Australian contingency coming over, and seeing how it works in displays and furniture in New Zealand, then scaling into Aussie is really, really easy, right? Because it's been done before in that product line particularly. And it's all the East Coast at this stage. I don't do much of the travelling myself. Harry does, but I'd love to do more. But I'm always stuck at the factory making the product, and he's selling it. So the next time I'm in Aussies for a boys trip, State of O Game 2, just looking forward to. I actually tried to catch up with, mix a bit of business with pleasure, but I don't do a lot of travelling, but would love to do more.
So just before we carry on with this chat, because you brought up State of Origin, are you New South Wales or Queensland?
You know what, I'm actually on the fence because I've never been a big leaguey.
Really?
I'm going to go with the underdog, 100%. So we've got about 12 boys going, here from the mount. Whatever group's wearing the least amount of jerseys, I'm going to go for that one.
Okay, that's
red or blue.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's good because it's amazing who are on the fence and they seem just to swap from side to side.
Yeah. So I do, but not because of the winning mentality. I want to be the underdog. Yeah. 100%.
Nothing beats seeing the underdog take it out, and then the next year you're like, I'm going to go for the other team this year.
Just spice it up a bit.
Yeah. And so before this, have you had much business experience?
Before this, I was doing project management for electricity distribution in Gizzy. So I came straight out of uni, moved home, and I was there for 2 years, and that's what I was doing. It was just asset replacement.
Yeah.
So power poles, transformers, power boxes, basically.
Yeah.
Keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
So that's, in terms of running a business, absolutely not. Wisewall was the first, but I was only in business 2 years before Wisewall started, so no, I would say I haven't.
And so what would you say is the biggest learnings that you've taken out of the last, 3 years?
Yep. Yeah, just coming up 3 years. That's always a tough one, eh? I think it's really important, and especially in the startup space, to celebrate the small wins. We as a group are really guilty of not celebrating the small wins and just letting time go by because everything's so fast paced and so busy. We need to work on that, definitely. I also think in the startup space, cash is always an issue. Definitely in those early days, living month to month is tough, and it puts a big strain on the people in the business that want to keep it going for whatever reason. But it always seems to work itself out somehow. I mean, I don't know the stat, but I know it's ridiculous the amount of startups that go under in the first year or two.
2 years. 2 years is the breaking point usually.
Yeah. So that, for me, watching the cash every month, thinking, how are we going to make ends meet? That was a big worry for me. But I've learned to kind of, really important to do stuff that directly reflects bringing cash into the business in that startup phase. I know everything else is really important, the branding, the marketing. We spent a huge amount on our branding marketing off the bat before we even sold a product. Yeah. So I know that stuff's extremely important. With Brian Richards, do you know him up in Auckland?
No.
Richards Partners.
I'd be potentially if I see some of his work, maybe, but nah.
They've got some big accounts done, Zespri and heaps of agri stuff. Yeah. So they were fantastic, but I know day to day when you're trying to make ends meet for the next month, doing tasks in your day to day that directly reflects bringing capital into the business, which was hugely important for us.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that because so many businesses, there's two kind of key, there's more than two, but there's two sort of primary ways that people often look at advertising. One is through brand, and you advertise through brand and brand recognition. And then through that, you obviously get people that recognize the brand and identify with you and your personality.
Yep.
But then you've got lead focused sales,
Yes.
basically marketing. So you're driving, this is what we do as a service,
Yep.
contact us, and it's all about delivery, basically. And it's interesting when I work with clients how often businesses don't actually look at it and say, even if they're doing brand, are they still trying to generate a lead? And is there at any point a point where you are actually focusing on that lead? Because it's so important that there is at some point a call to action to actually identify who you are and what you actually provide as a service or product or whatever. So it's interesting that you're saying that you built a brand and then now you're needing revenue on pretty much everything, right? Because if you aren't doing that, then why did you build a brand at that first part?
Yeah, we knew, and it's paid dividends. I mean, people are partnering with Wisewell, companies partnering with us because of our brand and marketing as well as our product, right? We've got such a good suite of assets and offerings to help those brands build on what they currently have with incorporating our product. So we knew that was hugely important. The amount we spend on it, at the time I was thinking that's a lot of money, but hey, it's paid itself off 100%.
Yeah. It's also, as a slightly different business to yours, and I say slightly, it's considerably different, but Red Bull is a great example where you wouldn't think of a caffeinated drink as an extreme sports drink.
No.
But because of the way that they've provided assets to events, so that at all of those events you see that, right? And I guess it's the same thing with you, and I don't know exactly what assets you potentially provide for partners and things like that, but I guess it's the same thing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
If they're able to partner with you guys and leverage your brand, then there's a selling point there, especially for global expansion, to be able to say that it's a New Zealand made premium product.
Yeah, so whenever I have a Red Bull, which is sometimes often, sometimes not, I think if it's good enough for Bowden Barrett, it's good enough for me, right? So that piece of branding there, that's what we wanted to kind of instill. Like, it's just so easy to win something over when you've got that perception around it.
Yeah.
So what's really important with our brand is it's transparent throughout the whole supply chain. So more and more, the consumers wanting to know where their product's coming from. We have on our couch with whoever made by whoever producer or manufacturer or designer has got Wisewell on it. It's got a SKU code on the couch. You'll be able to scan it just through a QR scanner. A QR code.
Yeah.
Scan it and it'll show you the farm of where the wool came from. We have transparency in our supply chain that no others have. So that's part of the incorporation of the brand and the suite of assets that comes with it that helps us win business.
Yeah. And so going through those challenges of like cash flow and everything like that, which is, to be fair, standard for people, especially in that first 2 to 3 years, especially 2 to 3 year. Like usually that first year is pretty good because you get a bit of uptake and you're like, shit, I'm going to make millions now.
And you had a pot of money to start with.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And then year 1 to 2 is like expenses start coming in and you start realizing to scale up, you have to go down in your income scale a little bit. And then suddenly there's systems that need to be built out and everything else. But what would you say was some of the best sort of stepping stones that enabled you get through that key period?
We actually had quite a bit of help from government in a research and development way. And are still continuing to. So we work with Callaghan Innovation, MPI's Triple F Fund. That funding around us discovering markets, that was mainly New Zealand Trade Enterprise, discovering markets, refining our products, refining our machinery, different wool blends, what makes this wool blend better to run through the machine than that one? Is it because of the length of fibre? That stuff, having co-funding on that has helped us immensely get through those periods of of downturn where we're, last month we had a bumper month in sales. The following month might be a quarter of that, and we're going, where's it gone? That funding around our research and development has been huge. I would hazard to say if without it, we wouldn't have got through it. I say it always works out. I don't know. We might have got money from somewhere else, or but that has been definitely huge for us.
Yeah. And you, with that, they provide a lot of support, right? Because I've had a little bit to do with NZTE and Callaghan, but have you had mentors through that process?
Yeah, so we've got people that run point on the different cases. Like MPI, we've got our kind of handler is a guy called Boone, who's based in Rotorua, and then above him, Mike Stevens is his upper boss for this kind of fund. So definitely we've got, there's been a bit of movement, definitely with the changing of the government and the restructuring in those governmental agencies. There's been people coming and going. But yeah, we've always been really, really well looked after.
Yeah.
I'd actually quite like to learn a bit about your business.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to know. Like I've seen all your kind of content and stuff on your webpage. I've had a bit of a dive through there. I'd love to know how your offering is actually different to other digital marketing agencies or.
Yeah. So I guess with agency world, there's lots of different agencies that specialize and niche to certain areas.
Yep.
And then there's general agencies, right? And I think one of the reasons why I originally started Squid was I worked, a bit of a backstory is I used to work at, I was windsurfing professionally.
Yep. And
with that I worked in the industry, doing a bit of marketing after my degree. After doing that for 3 years, I kind of got to a point with it where I was like kind of over the windsurfing. I knew it wasn't for me forever.
Yeah.
And I came home and worked for an agency. When I worked for that agency, I learned a lot in that time. But I realized that there was a lot of smoke and mirrors around what they provided. And there was a little bit of deception of the naive. And I didn't feel comfortable working in that environment. So I was in a sales role because I understood marketing and I'm relatively good at sales. So I could get people on board. But the thing that I didn't like was the fact that when I'd get them on board, there was no delivery and there was no execution. So the reason I started the business, Squid, was because I wanted to be able to be proud of who I worked for. And I've always run my own sort of things. I started my first business when I was 16. I was a professional athlete when people said I wouldn't be able to do it. And now I'd stopped that and I wanted to sort of own something. So I guess a very convoluted way around getting to it, I started the business because I wanted to be able to help businesses grow and scale, which is where I get a lot more enjoyment out of. So as a business, we do your social media, Google Ads, SEO, content, everything. But I don't get up at 7 o'clock in the morning fizzed to do that. That's a 9 to 5 job, which is a necessity to do what I have to do.
Of the business,
exactly.
Right?
So, but where I'm at now with the business is I want to do a lot more of that strategy component, and I've got a team now that can implement all of those things, and I enjoy the strategy component. So what differentiates us as a business? The biggest thing, I guess, from us as a business is we know certain industries quite well.
Yes.
And we've got quite a few clients in those areas. But alongside that, where we are different is that we actually, and anyone can say this, we actually care about our clients. So we're pretty much always on call. We do research into what is actually going to work for that client. And alongside that, we're kind of on top of all the trends, which lots of people can say that. But if you look at who we've had as our clients and who we've worked with and what they've sort of said.
And what they've accomplished, right?
Exactly, yeah. And our biggest thing is identifying what a business wants. So we work with, let's say, law firms. And that law firm, one law firm is purely around brand and the other one is purely around generating leads. So we don't have the same cookie cutter approach for the two of them.
Yeah.
We might potentially leverage the same tools, but there's different ways that you can leverage that. And it's the same thing as we've done some government work where we weren't able to leverage social media platforms in a way that would be normal, right?
Yep.
Like it was quite complicated because we couldn't allow comments,
Yes.
and we couldn't allow this organic interaction, right? So you're driving as much impressions without enabling organic growth,
Yep.
and you still have to provide that as a metric.
Mm.
And the other part, I guess, where we offer a lot of value to our clients is we work with some really cool brands, and we try and bring them all together. And an example of that is in the automotive space, I know some of the guys that play for the Warriors, so we can leverage some of those players for our clients. So we don't necessarily just say, hey, let's run a campaign. It's more around what and who is going to communicate with your audience best, and then that's what differentiates us, really. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's
Should we talk WARs?
I reckon we can talk WARs, because
do you follow the? I mean, it's a massive fad at the moment. Do you follow the Hodaki boys?
yeah, so we do work with so Mad Monday. So we just did a big thing with King Di and everything. Yeah, hit
So
me.
you're up with it. I was thinking on the afternoon shows the chat footy with me, Keezy, but you're saying you've got some contacts, so I want to know what's happening.
Nah, so like it's nah. The thing that's great content with the Hodaki boys is that they just fizz, eh?
Yeah.
Like, and the thing that's great about the content that they produce is it's just lad chat.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why it's so good for us to kind of resemble.
Yeah.
And dine out on.
So when I proposed an ACC campaign, Alternative Commentary Collective, for Trust Motors, which is one of our clients, they were like wanting to understand the relationship of why.
Yeah.
And the relationship of who Trust resembles, and you've got Mustangs, you've got all like the muscle cars, utes, they've got like this massive ute collection in there. And when I was like, you guys hate the fact that there's this whole thing around toxic masculinity and everything else, and the way they are is they love just going and having a lads day down at the car dealership, and because of that they resemble a big audience. So when we put the ACC forward towards them, they were like, this is perfect.
Yeah. This fits.
It was 100%. So then we were like, how can we leverage this to make it really cool? We did a epic Ford Ranger giveaway last year. This year we're working with Mars, Chans and Adam Pompey to do some really cool content creation, and it's things that are really organic, right? And I think in marketing today, and it'd be interesting having a chat about what you do to leverage like organic content. But one of the funny things that we did a video shoot the other day, and Chans was in the dealership, and a group of, I'd say 6 lads arrived to the dealership as we were doing the shoot, and you should have seen them all. They were all started tapping each other, being like
losing it.
Like look, they were like, "Fuck, is that Chance? Is that Mars? Is that you know?" And then next minute, I was like to them, "Okay, guys, we're gonna stop this video shoot now, and Chance, can you ask them to do a walkthrough of the dealership?"
Yeah.
So Chance knows the dealership and where to go and everything. So he literally was the salesperson for these 5 lads. Took them through to the Lamborghinis and Ferraris that were out the back, and like it was just like a good time. Like the guys knew that they were going to need to talk to, but like at the same time they got that experience
so
of
authentic.
They're like Instagramming it, like this is great content, and you know what I mean? It's things like that which I think building brands today is so important, because if you look at 1NZ, obviously that's still relationship to Warriors as well, but just in terms of who they are and the way that they've rebranded, it's creating organic content that people actually relate to, and not being this false perfect brand which no one actually really understands anymore.
No, I hear you. It's that, I said it just before, but it's that authenticity, right? and no one's perfect. You need to get a new jersey with one on it.
I've got one, but this is my this is
signed one.
I've got a signed one for the 1NZ one as well. I'll bring that in our next podcast interview.
Cool.
But the this is the OG. This is my first Warriors jersey I ever got, and it was a fully signed one from the 2011 jersey. Good times.
Good times. Yeah.
And so with your stuff, you've done some country calendar.
Yes. Yeah.
And how did that come about? Did you approach them?
No, we didn't. We I think in the wool industry, well, I suppose that's film, but in the wool industry, it's all about who you know. I suppose that applies to most industries. You get places a lot quicker if you know someone in the place you need to go to, right? So we knew the producer of Country Calendar, Kerry Ann Evans, great lady. I've known her for a long time, and our family's known her for a long time. So she approached us after hearing what we were doing. When those initial conversations came about, it was obviously pretty early days. What was that, a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
But we obviously jumped on it, and it turned out to be the best viewing country calendar of last year.
Nice.
Rated really highly. So yeah, we were approached, and it was fantastic. Changed our business overnight. That did. The amount of leads that came out of that show, just sales leads, just domestically, was huge. Yeah.
Well, it's got a mass audience, right? And when you look at who watches TV now, that's a large audience. Like in terms of like farmers watching the 7 o'clock country calendar.
So it is the most viewed television show in New Zealand on our air. But most of the audience is actually urban.
Is it?
For country calendar? Yep.
People love a red bands in the city.
I mean, it's New Zealand. It's what it was. The country was founded on farming, right? So they love people sitting in their apartment in Auckland. Love seeing what happens out in the regions where they often wouldn't ever go to.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised you aren't wearing red bands. And
I get the piss taken out of me all the time from my Gizzy mates. I've been mountified, mate. I've been mountified. So this is Metro Angus.
Yeah, well, I feel like also coming from me from Auckland, I feel like I definitely wouldn't call the mount super glam. Yeah. But it's like, it's that happy in between, right?
It's got that kind of steezy to it. See, I reckon we've kind of swapped. I'm looking more Jaffa-like, and you're looking more like you're from the back blocks of Gizzy. Yeah. Yeah.
Loud and proud, mate. Up the wires.
Up the wires. Yeah.
Cool. And so, a couple of final questions. I'll start with this one because this is quite critical. If you had one superpower, what do you reckon you would have?
I think it's actually pretty easy. Like, I have these yarns with the boys all the time. Telekinesis is for me.
Telekinesis.
So it's controlling objects with your mind. So I can pick their glass up with my brain.
I reckon you could do it.
I reckon I could try. I mean, you're driving along in the middle of nowhere. Your boat trailer's got a flat tire. You don't have a jack in the car. Go outside, lift the trailer up, change the tire. It's just really handy. Bus full of school kids going off a cliff. No, they're not. You can stop the bus, pick it up, put it back on the road. What's
X-Men? What's the guy called in X-Men that he can do that? He's in the wheelchair, isn't he?
Yeah, Luther. Luther.
I find it interesting asking this question because so many people say so many different things. Yeah. The most common is flight.
Telekinesis, I reckon you can just pick yourself up.
Well, I guess you kind of... Could you?
I think so.
I don't know if you... Because that's like you're just pushing yourself off the ground. I guess maybe you could. I don't know.
I reckon it probably ticks that one.
See?
I've had this argument with the boys. And we always... everyone backs their own horse, right? But that's mine. Telekinesis is it for me. Thought about it a lot, actually. It's weird you asked that question.
Because I feel like, so I'm definitely a speed guy. Yeah. Because basically if you can run fast enough, you can fly.
Yep. Off a high hill or something.
Yeah, and then Flash is just a legend.
Yeah. Would you wear his glasses?
I would be all for it. I would go as deep into that like speed world as you can. Because at the end of the day, I'm going so fast. I don't want my eyes watering.
Nah. You got to wear the, what is it, thermonuclear suits.
Exactly. And like, because I'm going so fast as well, I can basically time travel.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Yeah.
So speed's your thing.
Yeah.
So like superhuman speed. What else could you do with speed though? You could, I mean, you're going so fast you can run on water?
100% you can.
Oh, well, there you go. Travel's pretty cheap, isn't it?
Yeah. I can just like I could be in bloody Sri Lanka in like 5 minutes.
But just you.
No, but I can carry people because I'm real strong. I'm like not super strong. I'm not like...
But you're strong enough.
But
you're
strong
not like
enough.
Hulk.
Yeah. Not like... No, that would be ridiculous. And I also wouldn't want to be green.
He's not always green.
Yeah. And then final question. Do you think about the Roman Empire very often?
I can't say I do. No.
Really?
No.
It's there's quite a lot of people that think about like males that think about the Roman Empire like once a day, eh?
Is this like, I mean, I've watched the movie Troy. Are we talking that?
Yeah, just like
Gladiator.
and like how it like came about, like just like it's quite an interesting time.
What's
you know?
your theory on it?
I feel like some of it's a bit of a yarn, but I also feel like society today, when you look and everyone like complains about where we're at, that would have been way worse.
100%.
Like everyone's like, oh,
my
the
Wi-Fi's slow.
My Wi-Fi's slow,
Yeah.
or I don't have enough food. Like, I agree that we want to help those people, but like, I also think like, go back to those days.
Did you have to get into death pit with vipers and people with swords? And...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, suddenly I'm going to trade my cousin here because you're going to get a couple of $100, and then like I'm sweet for the next couple of years, but I've just traded my cousin.
They definitely had it worse, 100%.
Yeah.
Unless you were, if you're the king, I suppose you always end up getting beheaded or something crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's the double-edged sword, right? You have it good for a while, but then eventually you just get...
All kings fall.
Yeah. Ah, the Roman Empire.
So you think about it quite often?
I think about it. I think I think about the Roman Empire once a week, eh?
Mm-hmm.
But
not like, so you go that far back in time, not like World War One.
Nah, so I don't think about World War One. I think like my granddad definitely did. He was like, because he lived through that stuff and he'd always talk about it. But I feel like I don't really find that sort of warfare, like, I think it's just a bit savage. And I think like if you look at warfare now, I feel like it would just be out the gate. Like I know people that have in the Navy and things like that, and they're like, if there was a genuine war now, everyone's pretty much just gonna die.
Yeah.
Because like the thing you're more fighting is actually shooting the things in the sky.
So I was about to say, it's all done from a room like this, right?
Exactly. And you look at like some of the new like movies and stuff, which are pretty accurate, I reckon, around like you've got the dude on the drone who's just like flying it in and boom, like, you know, like it's savage. But like, I feel like those days it was a little bit more fair.
100% not hand to hand, but man on man combat.
Yeah. Whereas,
Oh, if you were in the army, what would your role be?
I don't know. Like, are we talking modern war, or are you walking like?
Nah, 1940s, World War II coming in too.
Oh yeah.
And you are in a battle zone. What's your role? Are you on the front line? Or are you on a sniper up on the hill? Or are you a gunner?
Nah, so I don't reckon I could do sniper. That would be, I get like, I wouldn't be in enough action. I need to run around like Flash.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
So I'd be, I got to be amongst it. But I don't know if I'd want to be front line. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, like, I'd be more like...
You'd be second wave.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'd want to be on a horse.
Nah.
Or something like that. I think I'd be... But I definitely wouldn't want to be in a tank or anything.
Nah, confined space.
Nah, I'm not about that. Like, people who are in submarines, those people are cooked.
Yeah.
How they can be underwater.
Yeah.
Like, and I love the water, but I could not be underwater for that long in a confined space. And no wonder they come out of the water and often just want to scrap. Right. Yeah. But I would say, I guess if you had to put it, yeah, I'd be a frontliner, I reckon.
You wouldn't see yourself as a corporal in the tent at the back making the calls?
Potentially. I mean, that's like the high life, right?
Yep.
But like, I feel like I would also more want to be at some point. I wouldn't want to just be in the tent because then you feel like a savage. You're like, oh, hey guys, go and
guys go and die.
Yeah, like I'd want to be like get my hands in dirty. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't necessarily want to be the first. What about you?
So I'm saying you're a platoon leader, right? You're
Okay.
leading, but you're actually in battle.
Yep. Yeah, that would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can be a sniper.
Really?
Yeah. Real sleuth. I could do 3 days. Off the grid. 100 mark. Yeah.
Interesting. So, wow. I find snipering real interesting, eh? Like how they like tell the like wind and stuff.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, the air pressure is this today, and then suddenly it's like,
change the scope by.
Yeah. Okay. Another one then on this. What would be your weapon in Roman times?
Oh.
You can have two. You can have two. Let's call it weapons or defense or whatever. But obviously they have to make sense.
As soon as you said that, straight to my head. I don't know why it came. Is mace ball.
That's what I always say.
I don't know why.
Mace ball with potentially like a small shield.
Yep. Like really, like a forearm.
Exactly. So
you can deflect. It's not weighing you down. It's not slowing you down.
Exactly.
But you can just swing.
Yeah. Because like I always think, not always. I often think
once a week, Roman Empire stuff.
Like Gimli, like he doesn't have a ball, but like I always think about Gimli, just like how he was such a little thug, like running around with his axe in Lord of the Rings.
People.
Yeah. But that's so interesting.
So is the mace, is it fixed or is it on a chain?
Chain, 100% chain.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, because if it was those fixed ones, that's just like on a stick. You were talking. Nah, those are. The other one, which I think would be really good, because this is one whole area of the empire, which I think is really interesting, is the Spartans.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they had this sword, like just basically spears with a thing, and they were just so technically amazing. Yeah. That's like a pretty wild concept to think about, how you can have such a small army but destroy
so much damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pick one though.
No, I'd go mace. I'll go mace. Yeah, because it's just kind of crack up as well.
Just swinging around.
Yeah.
And you'd ride a horse.
Potentially.
Or you'd be on foot.
I think I would like ride a horse standing. So everyone would see me coming.
Like a polo player. Just, just swinging.
Yeah. How about you? Would you be?
White stallion, I reckon.
Yeah.
So glorified. Yeah.
I actually reckon black. I'd go black horse.
You go black?
Yeah, all black. So you like, and I'd be like a modern Roman, where all my armor would be black as well.
Oh, like stealthed out.
Yeah. And I'd only hunt at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, sweet.
No, good, mate. Thank you very much for having me.
Hey, it's been great.
Thank you, brother.
Sweet. Bit of a yarn, eh?
Yeah, cool.
Thanks for tuning in to another Squid Group podcast. If you're looking for a marketing partner to grow your brand, business, or event, contact us here at Squid Group. See you next time.